All right, what's up, guys? Today we're going to be going over structure and structure with order blocks. So let's get into it. So how many of you guys know what order block is, or how many of you guys know exactly what like structure or order block is, or how many people have never traded the order blocks? Let me make sure everybody is muted. Okay, there we go. Don't know, don't know, don't know. Okay. So let's first start with structure, right? So when it comes to structure, you want to look at it this way, right? All structure is knowing pretty much where we at in the market. So structure is on every single time frame. It doesn't matter whatever time frame that you decide to trade on. You got to still trade with structure, right? Structure is king. Okay. So when we're looking, the market moves in pretty much it's called impulse, correction, impulse. So normally what the market likes to do is it likes to move in an impulsive wave, correction, impulse. So how many of you guys have ever traded, right? And you were in, like, let's say you were in calls, okay? And then you end up getting stopped out of calls just to see the market goes your way, right? How many people that has happened to? Pretty much all of us, right? And the reason why that happens a lot is because most traders actually get caught into the corrective wave, right? So when we're looking at this, you always want to understand that the market is always in an impulsive stage or a correction. So the correction is normally what we call choppy markets or whatever you want to call it. That's normally what a correction wave is. So if we're looking at a downtrend or whatever in that pullback, this pullback is a correction. So when it comes to corrections, everybody think that it's going to be perfect. The whole purpose of a correction wave is to chop you up, shake you out, make you lose confidence in yourself, make you lose money, and then make you quit. And then once you finally quit, that's when the market decides to continue to go that way, right? And this happens every single day, okay? So you want to make sure that you understand that the market is either in two things. So the first thing before you get into a trade, you always want to look and ask yourself, are we in an impulsive wave or a correction, right? So that's the main thing that you want to take from this part, okay? So now, to basically trade structure, you need to know what characteristics make a trend. And I'm pretty sure all you guys know this, right? So whenever we have an uptrend, what makes an uptrend? Anybody know? What makes a uptrend? Don't know. It's all cool. All right. So there we go. We have higher highs and higher lows. Those are what makes the uptrend, right? So we come here. This is a uptrend, okay? So we have our higher high, higher low. What is this? Let me know in the chat. Higher high, higher low. Same thing, higher high and higher low and higher high. Okay, so these are these are the main points of an uptrend. How do you know that the uptrend is continuing to be an uptrend? Is making higher highs and higher lows. That's pretty simple, okay? So when a trend is starting to change, what do you think that we want to see when a trend is starting to change? Breakup structure, we're gonna get into that, but also the first sign is failing to make new highs, right? So if we have a trend that does this and it comes up and it doesn't make a higher, it doesn't come higher than this high, then we're going to, this is equal highs right now, but it didn't make a higher high. This high did not go higher than this high. So what would this be? Okay, I know it's a double top, but also it would just be a high, right? Because it's equal high. So we're going to say it's equal high. So it'll just be a high. So that's the first sign of knowing that a trend is starting to change. But the problem is, do you take puts right away? Why don't you take puts? Still in the uptrend. That's what I wanted. Okay. So you don't want to take puts because it's still in the uptrend. How many of you guys have took a double top before and it didn't work? Right? A lot of people have been noticing that. The reason why the double top does not work is simply because you're still in a uptrend, right? So normally what happens is until we break a low, a higher low, so we have our higher low right here, until we have a break of structure breaking below this low, we are still in a uptrend. Now, if we're failing to make new highs, that just means that the uptrend isn't as strong as it was before, but that does not mean that the uptrend is no longer valid, right? Because it's still technically an uptrend until we have a break of structure, right? So what happens if it does this, right? The uptrend does what? Still valid, right? We created another higher high and the trend continues, right? So when we have this higher low, okay? So then when we break this, that is your first sign that the uptrend is now broken. Now, do you take puts immediately? No, right? Why don't you take puts? And this all I'm gonna show this all on the same on the charts and everything. But what did I tell you guys? You want to take puts at what? And for my new people that don't know, all right. So first, let's do this first before we get to that part. So when you're in an uptrend, right? Where do you want to take calls in the uptrend? Higher lows. You only want to put this in your notes for anybody that don't know about structure. You only want to take calls at higher lows, okay? You only want to take calls at higher lows. This is how you keep from getting faked out because too many traders, this is what happens. They take calls at higher highs. The stock immediately pulls back once they buy. They get stopped out just to see what the price to continue to go their way. This is why people get shooken out because they say, oh man, you know, Nvidia is going up. I want to buy Nvidia. You know, I'm scared that I'm gonna miss the move. Oh, I get in right at the top. It pulls back. I get shooken out just to see it go my way. And this happens over and over and over and over again until you're broke or you quit and you never trade again, right? So the goal as a trader is to take calls at higher lows, right? So you want to take calls here, and I'm gonna tell you like how to know when to take them in a minute, but you want to take calls here, 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 right? You always want to take calls at higher lows, never higher highs, okay? Now, when we're looking at, now that we had a break of structure, you only want to take puts at lower highs, right? So right now, we did break structure. How many people have took puts? How many people have took puts just to see price pull back as soon as they take it and then drop lower, right? So you want to get into a habit of, you know, waiting for those pullbacks and waiting for those lower highs to then take them down to the downside. And I'm going to teach you on a live charts on like how to read them and everything. But overall, you know, that's what you want to do. So you want price to pull back. Normally it might make a retest to that previous level. And then there you go. Move down, up, down, up, down, up, right? So right here, you have your first lower high. You have your first lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and lower high. All right. So now, how do we know that a downtrend is going to be broken? Well, the downtrend is stopping, right? failed to make a lower low, and also failed to do what? I mean, also did what? So you might have something like this where we push up, failed to make a new low right here, failed to go lower than this low, and then we end up breaking our lower high. Right, so the lower high be right there. We end up breaking it, and that's when we start the new trend and do it all over again, right? So this is some characteristics that you want to put into your notes that has helped me tremendously. All right, so in order for, so, and you're going to see this a lot when we get onto the live charts, right? So let's say that we have a, let me clear all this out. And this has helped me personally. So let's say that we have a downtrend, right? Okay. So some people will say, so let me draw it real quick. Lower high, lower low, lower high, and lower low. Okay. So the problem that I have with traders, and I want you to make this adjustment to your trading, right? A lot of people will consider this, when we do this, they will consider this a lower high, right? Why wouldn't this be a lower high? No lower low. There we go. So whenever you're trading the trend, if you want it to get the best quality trades, in order to make a lower high, you have to have a lower low. That's the best way to put it, right? So technically, since this did not make a lower low, this low isn't lower than this low isn't lower than this one, I consider this the lower high that we want to break, right? Do that make sense? So in order to make a lower, so just put this in your notes. In order for that to be a lower high, it has to make a lower low. The only way it can be a lower high is if it made a lower low, right? And you're going to see this a lot in the markets, right? So that's the best way. When I started doing that, that changed the game for me, because I would used to count that and then just to see the market, you know, coming up here and then rejecting to go lower, right? So I literally had to make that adjustment, and it literally changed the game for me because it caused less fake outs, right? So it's the same thing with higher high. Also, the reason why you want to do this is because too many people get into that phase where they want to predict, right? They want to predict lower highs and lower lows and highs and lows, right? Too many people get into that predicting phase that say, yeah, they see the market. Hold on, let me show y'all. I'm about to give y'all a prime example, and I'm only speaking off experience on what I did, right? So to put it in simple terms is I will see somebody say, okay, Jay, we are in an uptrend. And then they will get into a habit of saying, okay, the market is pushing up, so I'm about to take puts now because I think it's going to make a higher low eventually at some point. And then the market just does this. Go, and it just never pulls back, right? And they literally get caught holding puts because they're trying to predict a higher low, right? So you don't want to get into this prediction phase, guys. You don't want to get into predicting. In order for it to be valid, a high, so like for right here, so we have an uptrend, right? In order for this to be a higher low, it has to make a higher high, right? So then once we make that higher high and break up structure, that becomes your higher low, right? So I want you guys to get into a habit, and this is also going to help you because you guys said you want to go over order blocks today. You're going to see exactly why this is important, right? So in order for this to be a higher low, it has to break structure and make a higher high, right? So if we're looking at this example, and this is the high, is this now a higher low? No, right? Because we have to break the previous high in order for that to be valid. Now, I know people they're not going to pay attention to that point, but that point is going to be key in what I teach you next when it comes to order blocks, right? That's literally going to make or break your strategy, knowing these simple facts, right? Too many people try to get into this prediction, and this is also why a lot of supply and demand, like, okay, so when it comes to order blocks and supply and demand or whatever, there's no right or wrong way to do it. So the way I'm teaching you, no, people might not like that way. People might like calling this a demand zone, right? They might say this is a demand zone because it bounced, right? But I've seen too many times where people try to count that as a demand zone and it just go like that. And then be like, oh man, I don't know what just happened. And that's because when you trade in with structure, you add the order blocks, demand, whatever you want to call it, you add that with structure, it's a better quality trade, right? Did that make sense so far? Yes, no. Anybody confused yet? So let me show y'all like a let me show y'all some more examples, and then we're going to get into the charts. Okay. So same thing with a downward trend, right? So if this is the low, in order for this to be a lower high, it has to break the previous low. So if we come down right here and it does not break, this is not a lower high, guys. It has to break below to be considered a lower high. So normally you will have something like this and it don't break or whatever, and then you be like, oh, bro, it didn't break, right? So none of these are going to be lower highs because it did not break, right? You have to have everything come together. So for this point, right, for this to be, if this is the low, for this to be a lower high, it has to break below. And as soon as it breaks below, go ahead and consider that your lower high. And also is going to be your order block. And we're going to get into that in a minute, right? So when they break, this is what we call a break of structure, right? So let me go back and do that one more time. So, okay, let's say that this is your pretty much your low, right? So we're going to come up here, price is moving up. And then once it breaks below here, right, this is your support level. Once it breaks below, this is now your lower high or whatever you will see. It depends on the trend. We'll get into that in a minute. But the reason why this is important is because a lot of the times what you will see is you will see price come here, right? And then reject off and go lower. Okay. Did everybody see that? And we're going to get into the order blocks in a minute, but let's stay on the structure first. Make sense? Anybody make sense yet? Cool. Don't get confused, y'all. It's really simple. And we're going to get into the charts, right? Don't get confused. All you're doing is you have your support or whatever. And then if we have a uptrend, right, we're creating higher highs and higher lows. Okay. Stay with me. Don't get confused. All this is a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And then we have our higher high. And then let's say that this is our support. If we break below that support, that is a break of structure. And then what you're going to do is for the break of structure, you're going to wait. And then you're going to see that when we have another break of structure, that's going to be your lower high, pull back, lower low, if we make that lower high, and then the same thing. Does that make sense? Cool. Anybody still confused? Let me know before we move on to the next step. I'm gonna show y'all. If it goes up and equals, it's still a yes. So that's a great question. So the question was, if it goes up and let's say it equals it, so it's like at the same level, right? That is still a downtrend, right? So that will literally just be a low. And then we have another breaker structure. and go from there, right? So it still be in the downtrend. The only way it's not in a downtrend is if it come up here and it breaks it, okay? So now let's get into the order blocks, and I'm going to show you all of this on the chart. I'm going to show y'all when to enter and all that. I know everybody got those questions. I'm going to get into the wicks and all that. I'm about to get into that, but let's go ahead and get into the order block section, and then I'm going to tie this all together, right? So order blocks, if you know structure, order blocks are literally, if you know structure, order blocks are easy to find. Literally, they're super easy to find. So we're going to do the same thing here. So if you have structure, how order blocks work is once we break whatever the first candle, right here, and I'm going to explain this in a minute. Right here, this is your order block. So you will have your, I'm going to just draw a block right here. Actually, I know how to do it to make it look better for you. Okay, we're going to have this move up here, pull back. We have a break of structure. And then here we go. I got you. And then this is going to be your order block right here. And I'm going to get into the characteristics in a minute. But all right, there we go. And then we have our pullback. And then if it breaks again, it's going to be the same thing, right? Okay. So the characteristic that you want to understand, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. The characteristic that you want to understand, the only way this can be a valid order block is if it breaks the previous high, right? If it breaks structure, it has to break structure for it to be a valid block, right? Or demand zone, right? It has to break structure. That's what we say is BOS, break of structure. Okay. So this right here. So if this is support, if this is resistance, we pull back, break this area right here. This is right here. This is a break of structure. If this is our resistance, we pull back and we break it right here. This is a break of structure, right? So yes, that's all it is. The pullback is your order block. Did that make sense? If we watch order block, you can still write it down if you want to. It's the same thing though. Right. So if we stay with me, don't get confused. I know some of y'all, this is all new language. Don't get confused. So it's the same thing with higher highs, higher lows, and I'm going to show y'all why these matter. Okay. So now let's say that we do this. We have a push up, a pullback, and then we have equal highs, right? Just consider that equal highs. Will this be a order block? No, right? It would not be an order block unless we have what? What do we have to make it a order block? We have to have a break of structure. So even though it touched the same line as it's still not a break of structure. Okay. So you will not count that. You want to have a break of structure. Now, why do we want to have a break of structure? Well, because you're going to get your best trades off of it. So let's say that we have a uptrend and we have a pullback and we have an uptrend, right? And right here, we confirm like, okay, Jay, we have what is this right here? What is this? This area right here that I just shaded orange. This is your break of structure. So now that we confirm we have a break of structure, this is now your what? This area right here. This is your demand. You can either say, I'm gonna be honest, you can say demand zone or you can say order block. It's the same thing. I don't know why we confuse the two, but it's the same thing, right? So you can say demand or order block for this purpose. I'm gonna say order block because technically it is an order block. So yeah. So the reason why you want to do this is what happens a lot of the times, and you will see this very often. What happens is we pull back and we literally tap that order block. And then you could take calls, right? And then we push back up, right? And that's why this is important, because too many people, as we're in an uptrend, what happens is they literally pull back. And once it gets to this point, they try to take puts, right? And what happens is they take puts and they get crushed, right? And why? Is because we came back into that order block and those orders are now, getting filled, and now it causes price to increase. Do that make sense? Now, check this out, okay? So how it work is too many people be focused on the old ones. Whenever we make, put this in your notes, whenever we make new structure, whenever we have a new break of structure, you make a new order block. So the previous order block does not matter anymore. Put that in your notes. If we have a new break of structure, the previous order block does not matter anymore. So what I mean by that is, take this for example. So let's say that we have a push up, pull back, and we know this is our order block. And then we have another pull back, push up, and we know this is an order block. This previous order block does not matter no more. Now, you can use it for a PT. I know a lot of people do that for a PT, but right now, let's just focus on, like, we're going to get into price targets and stuff. Let's just focus on, like, making sure that you're, getting out of a habit of having old stuff in your charts. Once it breaks a new structure, delete that. That no longer matters anymore. The only thing that matters is the new order block, right? If structure is invalidated, there won't be no zones anyway. So the only way for a zone to be invalidated or whatever, if we have, a breaker structure to the other one, PT is price target, right? So before we move on from this part, there are some characteristics that you want to understand when drawing your order blocks, okay? So the best way to teach you guys this is whenever we have a move up, let me draw it real quick. I'm gonna get into the time frames in a minute. Hold on. Where is my pen? Okay. Why is this still on the duration? Oh wow, no, that is not. Okay, there we go. All right, so there are some characteristics that you want to know before we move on. So we have the uptrend. We're gonna get into a habit of this. This is our resistance level. What is this, guys? What is this right here? This is our break of structure. So, and I'm gonna keep doing this until everybody get it. What is this area right here? Our order block. Okay, so now there are some characteristics that you want to know when you're making your order block, because the question then becomes, okay, Jay, how big do I make my order block? So this is key right here. Put this in your notes. So if we're looking at a uptrend, the last bearish candle and the lowest point is going to be your order block zone. And I'm going to show you this on the live charts in a minute. Put this in your notes. In a uptrend, the last bearish candle and the lowest point is going to be your order block zone. And I promise I'm going to show you an example of this so it makes sense. But just make sure I'm going to say it one more time. The last bearish candle and the lowest point is your order block zone. That's how big you make it. In a downtrend, it's the complete opposite. So let's do the downtrend now. Right? So we have a move down. This is our low. We're back. What is this right here? Break of structure. And now, oh, I should have made this green. Hold on, let me make this green for y'all real quick. My bad, y'all. I gotta draw this all over again. Hold on. Practice make perfect anyway, it don't matter. I'm gonna just make it black. We have an uptrend. Let's go over this one more time while we're right here. What is this? Our break of structure. And then right here, what is this? Order block. And when we're making our order block, what are we looking for as far as how big to make it? How big to make this zone? last bearish candle and lowest point. Last bearish candle and lowest point. And I'm about to show y'all on the charts. It's literally going to, y'all gonna be like, oh, okay. I know I'm gonna hear it. So in the downtrend, let's do it. Go back. Okay. What is this? Break a structure. And then now this becomes our order block. And then for when you're in a downtrend, you want to, what do you think? Like, I'm pretty sure you can guess it. What do you think that how big to make our zone for a downtrend? You want to have the last bullish candle and the what? The last bullish candle and the highest point, right? So now that we had our fun, let's actually look at the charts and actually see all of this in live, right? Now, before we move on to the live charts and show some examples of this, one thing that I want to say, and this is all like how, if you want to do it or something, okay, put it this way. For me, because somebody asked me this as soon as class started, for me, I count wicks as break of structure. Now, for some people, they don't like to count them, but I count them. So what I mean by that is, let's say that we are in the uptrend, right? And we have, like, let's just say this is a wick, right? Let's just say a wick gets a little bit above it, right? If this is our high and the wicks get a little bit above it, I'm counting that as a structure break, right? Some people don't want to. That's all up to you. You can decide if you want to or not. But to me, I feel my mindset behind it is, if we were so weak, it would not even have broke it. It wouldn't even have, most likely, it probably wouldn't even have got close to it, right? So that is my mindset on it, okay? That's just me personally. So if I see a wick above, I'm literally going to do this. I'm literally going to say, all right, order block, okay? Even if it comes back down right after, I don't care. That's still a break of structure to me. So keep that in mind. I count wicks as break of structure, and I'm going to shit. Okay, my bad. Am I back now? Okay, cool. That's that Dallas Wi-Fi already starting. Wicks equal break of structure. All right, so now let's get into the live charts, and then I will get into like how do I enter and do all of that. Y'all ready for the live charts? All right, let's get it. Cool. All right, so let's start with XPX, a daily. All right, so everybody see my screen. Yes, no, maybe. Everybody see my screen? Okay, cool. So before, I like to draw it on the side just for learning purposes, right? Okay. So remember, we want a break of structure, okay? We want a break of structure, and then that'd be the order block. So when we see right here at this point, let me make this bigger. Okay, so we have this high, and then what did we have right across, right? You see how this wicked above? So would this be a break of structure? Yes, right? Because we broke above that previous high. So then that makes what? The last what? The last what? the last bearish candle and the lowest point. Remember, if we're looking at a move up, right, to break structure, it's going to be the last bearish candle. So when I'm saying the last bearish candle and the lowest point, I literally mean exactly that. You're going to take that whole entire bearish candle and the lowest point of it, and you're going to draw your zone, right? It's a little lower than that. There you go. You see that? Let me just make the color a little better. I'm gonna make it green for right now. Okay, everybody see that? So now, as we came back, right, as we broke structure, we pulled back into this zone. What do we do if we pull back into this zone? What did we do when we pull back to the zone? We literally bounced the lowest point of the zone. I mean, we literally came down to the lowest point of the zone and we pushed right out of it, right? You could have caught literally a nice trade from this. XPX came down to 40, 48, and it pushed all the way up to what we can do from right here. So this is about 110 points, right? So this is a pretty big move on XPX, right? That's 100 points, right? So basically a $10 move on SPY. Okay, so do this make sense so far? I'm gonna go over way more examples. I'm just saying, do this part make sense so far? Like, it's literally what we just went over, right? And then there we go. Okay, so let's do another one. Let's see. Let's just go to all right, so this is a example of where we don't have the retest just yet, but let's just go right here real quick. So same thing, we're looking for a move up, pullback, and then we have a break of structure, right? So when we're looking at QQQ, when we're looking at this high right here, shit, when we're looking at this high right here, damn, we had our high, we had our pullback, and then we had a what? Is this high higher than this high? Yes, right? So this will then be, what is it going to be? Our last what? To make our order block is going to be our last what? Bearish candle and lowest point. So in this case, we're going to cover that entire bearish candle, right? And that's going to be our order block. So the trade was, if we come back, right? Hold on, guys. The trade was, if we come back into this zone, we take our calls, right? So now look at this part. So now look at this part. We had our high right here and we had a pullback. So now what is this? This was previous. So now we on to a new one, right? So we had a high here, we pulled back and just got another high. So what will we do then? Is this a break of structure? Correct, right? It is. So we will then do the same thing. We're going to take what? The last bearish candle and the lowest point, right? So will we care about this zone anymore? The one before, even though it didn't retest? No, right? Because we only care about the previous one. Okay. And let me make this color a little lighter so that way you can see me actually draw it. Okay. So you see exactly how I'm doing it. I'm literally taking the highest point of this candle and the lowest point, and that whole entire candle is my zone. I'm about to literally show you how meta trade worked out today using this strategy. Okay. So do everybody see that? So now if we're looking for QQQ to pull back, we're going to be looking for QQQ to pull back to that level, right? It can either bounce at this one or it can bounce at the lowest point. And sometimes you have it where they even bounce in the middle. Well, we're going to get into that later. But I'm just saying, I'm trying to get y'all to understand just the basics. Too many people try to like move on to the next step. Like, no, let's just focus on drawing the correct things, right? So if we're looking for to take QQQ, if QQQ pulls back to 322.89, we'll be looking to take calls to then potentially bounce back to the upside, right? Let me pull that up. Yeah. And this is the daily time frame that I'm on right now. All right, do that make sense so far? Cool. So now let's get into an example of, so maybe the example will help you. I'm gonna do more examples of this too, but let's get into like an actual trade that you could have caught today off of using this strategy. So right now I'm only focusing on the daily time frame, and we'll get into time frames in a minute. All right, so now I'm not gonna say a lot to you. Meta was a little harder because of the gaps, but let's just take it as it comes, right? So hold on, I gotta make sure I get the exact area. Hold on, guys. Is it? Hold on. Yeah. Push up, pull down. Where do we take this low at? Push up, I think this was the low. Hold on, my bad, y'all. I'm trying to get y'all the exact plan that we had today. So you had that push up, pull back. So that was right. No, it was this low. I counted this low. So right here, this is a little harder. I know that's probably not a good example, but overall, just pay attention to the structure real quick. So we had this push up, right? And then we pull back and we broke this low. So now when we're looking at this low, when we're looking from an uptrend perspective, what are we looking? I mean, a downtrend, what are we looking for? Right? Hold on, let me draw it on the side. Let me draw it on the side real quick. I'm gonna get y'all a way better example, but I'm just trying to give y'all a trade that we took. This one is a little more complex. I should have waited to do this one. But overall, we're looking for price to break a structure. So here we go. We had this low, and then we had price break, right? Everybody see that? So this becomes our what? Don't get confused, y'all. Stay with me. This becomes our right here. So sometimes they even going to be a break and retest, but I'm trying to get y'all to understand this part, right? So we have this part. This is our order block, and it's going to be the last bullish candle before the breakdown. So we're going to say the last bullish candle in the highest point. So we have the highest point right here, and we're going to have that candle. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw that. We're going to make that red. Y'all see that, right? This was our last bearish candle. I mean, this was our last bullish candle, the last bullish candle. And then this was the highest, right? So remember when I said, when we're looking for the breakdown, right? Go back to when we was just in class. When we're looking for the breakdown, we are looking for the last bearish candle and the highest point, right? So let me make sure I explain that clearly. So if I only put it right here, is this the highest point? If I just counted just the last bullish candle, is this the highest point? So remind you when I'm saying that, I'm saying the last bullish candle and the highest point, right? So you want to get the highest point involved, okay? And sometimes you're going to have big zones, sometimes you're going to have small ones, right? Don't worry about the size of the zone. So now let's look at this, right? So once we confirmed that is our zone, this is how MetaTrade looked. Let's go here. So this is how the MetaTrade look. You want to make sure that you're getting a whole bullish candle. And then if it's anything outside of that bullish candle, you want to catch that. So then let's go back to the actual the meta situation. So we had this. We're looking at a downtrend now. But right now we're talking about the order block. So I'm about to show y'all in a minute. We're going to get more technical in a minute. So let's go see. All right. So this will be your point right here. Let me go back to the daily. And I'm gonna tell you about the trends and stuff. But this is literally how you could have called meta today. This is literally how I planned for meta today. So right here we have that lowest point. What I like to do is like I like to sometimes remove the zones after I make them, and then I make those support and resistance levels, right? So boom, that's the support level, and then that's the resistance level. So it's the zone, but I'm also just making them into levels. Does that make sense? So it's still the zone, right? It's still the zone, but it now I put it as levels, so I don't have that big zone in my way. Does that make sense? I should have probably not did MetaTrade right now from learning purposes, but I'm just trying to say I like an actual trade that we did today. Um, so what I was telling the chat was if we pull back to this level, right? If we pull back to this level, I'm going to be looking for rejections. Why am I looking for rejections? Because that is our supply order block zone, right? So when we're in this red area, we're going to be looking for puts, right? So why did I say that? So I'm like, okay, if we pull back to this, I'm going to be looking for rejection. Did that make sense so far? On that purpose, did that make sense? Yeah, okay, cool. So when we were looking at meta and pre-market, somebody actually mentioned it to me as far as looking at meta. So that's kind of how I found it on my watch list. But in pre-market, I literally told the chat, I said, I think we look like we are starting a bear flag, and we're gonna get into patterns and stuff, but I'm literally telling the chat, I'm like, I think we are starting a bear flag on meta, right? Okay, so then when we let the market play, we hit that zone, and as soon as we hit that zone, we hit that level, could have took puts, and then they pretty much sold off and it gave you like a nice little move to the downside. We can go here, nice little sell-off, right? Gave you, this was 100% trade, a nice little sell-off off that zone. You see how perfectly it hit it and rejected and it came off of that daily zone. We could delete the flag. We don't really need to care about that too much. But overall, like you see how I was able to literally take a zone off the daily, and once we hit it, it rejected pretty clean, gave you a nice trade, right? Did that make sense? So it look a little better. So you was able to avoid all of this noise. Oh shit. Hold on. I'm about to show y'all some more examples though. I know meta was a little crazy. Damn, how you exit this? Anybody know how to get this off my screen? I don't know how to get this off. Drag it to the right. Oh, there we go. Okay. Cool. So if you're a pattern trader, we had like a little nice little bear flag right into that exact zone. We had like a little bear flag into that zone. And then we ended up rejecting, right? Came down, hit the first target, and then pretty much, you know. All right, so that was that trade. That's how pretty much got that level from. And then pretty much, there you go. Okay, so now let's go back into the actual pretty much go back to the zones first, and then we'll go from there. So let's see. Let's go to NVIDIA. But let's go back because I think people are still trying to they're ignoring like the actual zones. They're like thinking too far ahead. So let's go back. Let's practice a little more. Okay, so when we're looking at the video, right, we had this uptrend, correct? And everybody see this. This is a clear uptrend, right? Can everybody agree that this is an uptrend? Okay, cool. So when we're looking at it, we have this high point and we had a pullback. Did we break structure right here? Did we break structure right here? Did we make a new high? Yes, right? So is this an order block now? Do we make this valid? Yes, right? So let's draw it, okay? So we're going to do what? The last bearish candle and what? the lowest point, okay? So we're going to drag that across. All right, let's make it green because this is like a demand zone. And this is how we caught in the video, okay? So what happened? We broke up structure. We continued that. So let's go here. We pull back into this zone and we just bounced off of it. We bounced off it once, could have caught calls here, came back, bounced off it again, could have caught calls again. And then we broke new structure as well on that. Okay. Somebody just asked, why do we pick this point? Don't get confused, guys. Don't get confused. I'm going to continue to do this. Literally, what time is it? Bro, it's only 8 o'clock. I can do a whole hour of just showing you this all day. Literally, I can show you this all day. We could just spend the next 2 hours just looking at examples. I'm that dedicated to getting y'all to understanding this. So look at what we just had. So I'm finna draw it on here, right? We had a push up, we had a pullback, and we broke that high, right? It's the same thing that we just did over here. We had a push, pullback, broke the high, right? We broke the high. That was a break of structure. Oh shit. That was a break of structure. Here we go. We broke it. So then this area becomes our new demand, right? Our new demand, order block, whatever you want to call it, right? So if we're looking for a trade, we're looking for a pullback to that and to go higher, right? We picked the last bearish candle, right? Remember this, the last bearish candle before the break of structure, right? So it would not be this candle. It would not be these candles right here. It would not be these candles up top. Why? Because it's not the last bearish candle. We want the last bearish candle when we're looking for that move up, right? The last bearish candle, okay? So now let's go into let's finish the rest of the trades, okay? So right here we go. We broke that structure right here. We came back into this green area. We bounced off. Is this zone still valid? Yes. Why? Why is this zone still valid right here? Why is it still valid on this pullback right here? Because there wasn't a break of structure until this point, right? We're ignoring this point, hasn't happened yet, right? Right now, we're looking at this zone. It came back to this zone. We made another trade. We want to take calls. We don't want to short this zone, right? So now we broke structure, okay? So now, since we broke structure, what are we going to do to these candles? No, I'm saying we broke this high. So now what we're going to do? We're going to get rid of them and we're going to make a new order block. Now, this is where, if this is where this counts, right? I'm about to show y'all. If you would have just made the last bearish candle your order block, look what would have happened, right? You would have thought that the order block had broken because you only focus on the last bearish candle. This is why I say you want to have that last bearish candle and the lowest point, because there's going to be some times where there is a bullish candle before the break, right? So that's why you want to count that lowest point, because look what happened. Literally, look what happened, guys. Look at it. When you counted the lowest point in it, look what happened. It bounced off that lowest point to the exact penny cent, right? It literally bounced exactly. Versus if you would have just did the last bearish candle, like most traders tell you what to do, then look, there you go, right? So you want to make sure that you're plotting that lowest point, because it came down and I literally my exact trade, I literally signaled NVIDIA calls right there. Right here. There was my exact signal was right here. People always ask me, Jay, what made you take that? Came down here, stop loss right below. Let's draw it. Well, that wasn't my original target. It was that previous high. And then, hold on. But yeah, this is the daily. So I'm gonna get into my entry. So obviously my entry wasn't the daily time frame, right? But I'm using the daily level because they're the most accurate, right? They're the most accurate. So I personally like using the daily. That's why I said people always asking me, Jay, why do you wait so long to take certain trades, or like why are you so confident that your trades are going to go 100%? Why is because I'm using the daily levels. So my daily order blocks, the daily time frame gives me the strongest levels as far as when it comes to order blocks, right? The daily time frame gives me the best ones. Now you can use the strategy on any time frame, but I'm just saying the daily gives me the highest reward to my trades. So I like to focus on the daily more than any other time frame. So now let's go ahead and show you how you could have caught this trade looking from that. Okay. So we're going to zoom in onto this area right here. Okay, so now let's zoom into this area on the lower time frames. All right, so on the lower time frame, obviously we were still just in a downtrend, so you could have just took calls above this high as well. But we go to even lower over here. Same thing here. All right, so y'all good now? Y'all back now? So remember what I said about structure, right? So if we're in a downtrend, are y'all with me? Are y'all listening? Because I'm trying to make sure y'all still listening. Okay, so if we're in a downtrend, remember what I said, right? We are in a downtrend. Okay. And in order for the downtrend to be invalidated, what has to happen? A break of structure, right? So if we're looking at a downtrend, we want to have a break of structure. So the easiest way to do it is one of these highs need to be broken, right? So if this high is now broken, we can then take calls. Okay. So, and I know this is, let me turn the pre-market on real quick. Actually, the pre-market was ugly as hell. I'm turning it back off. It's too ugly right now. We just gonna turn that back off, right? I actually, so just being out there, I actually trade with the pre-markets off most of the time when it comes to structure. But and also I'm gonna get into this in a minute. I actually took calls at the bottom without breaking structure. We're not gonna get into that right now. Obviously I'm a little riskier. I've been doing it for a minute. So, but as a regular trader, let's just we're just trying to get into making it make sense, right? We all see that this is in the downtrend, right? So let's draw it. So real quick, I want y'all to identify everything right now, okay? So if we have an uptrend right here, and this is our low, hold on, shit. Okay, my bad, y'all. Wait, I'm getting confused a little bit my damn self. Hold on, this price action ugly as hell. All right, there we go. All right, so right here, if this is our low, and then we pushed up and we broke below, is this a break of structure? Yes, right? So for just training purposes, I'm gonna just say this, right? So we ended up not breaking above. We ended up, breaking a new low. And basically we had let's just start drawing a trend right now. So we had our high, and then this is what? I like to draw it this way. Like this is just help me. What is this? No, I'm saying, what is this? No, not the trend line, not the trend line. This is a lower high, right? So let's just delete this real quick. So I'm gonna just walk y'all through the trend. We had a lower high, boom, pushed up, broke this low. So what is this? Lower high, pushed up, we broke this low. So what is this? Lower high, boom, pushed up, broke this low. So what is this? Lower high, right? So if we're looking for NVIDIA trend to end, we are looking for a break above this lower high, right? So as you can see, when the market opened, what did we do? We gapped up, but we had a break of structure, right? We gapped up, had a break of structure, and then there we go. We pushed up and we created this uptrend, right? So that is when people ask me, how do I enter? That's how you enter. You just come down. So we have a daily level. So now we know that we're at a daily order block demand zone. So now before you take calls, what you want to do is you want to wait for structure to be broken. So we can continue to go, let's go on the lower time frames. Let's go even lower. If you want sniper entries, we can still go even lower for this, right? So go to the 15-minute. So same thing on the 15-minute. Okay. So here we go. And also, let me put this out here real quick. Okay. The lower, when you learning structure, right? You want to get used to the higher time frames first, and then the better you get at it, when you can come to the lower time frames, because sometimes it's a lot harder to restructure on the lower time frames. So that's why I tell people, start with the daily, understand the structure, learn the characteristics, and once you understand the characteristics, you can then move on to lower time frames. The lower the time frame is, I'm not gonna say here a lot of you, the harder it's going to be to restructure, but that's why with experience and chart time, you get better at it, right? So, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. So, we have our, our low right here, and I just pull it from anywhere, right? Where it makes sense that if it's a little, because sometimes it'll be choppy and you don't want to force that in there. So right here, we had our push down, we had our low pullback. This is a lower high now, right? So I will literally go around here, last bullish candle, highest point. As long as we don't break above here, I'm gonna consider us still bearish, right? So then we come down, push back up, right? Right? We broke those lows. This becomes the new high. So and this becomes the new lows, right? My crosshairs are late. I don't know what that means. Boom, we broke this low, highest point, last bearish candle, go from there. There we go. Came down, right? And you can play with it however you want to do it. Boom, we pushed up, broke this low, came down, had another low, and just go from there. And then, we have this high now, this low. Here we go, however you want to do it. And once we broke above, you can just go from there. That's why I say it really matters. So once we break above, then you could take calls. Some people like taking the breakouts. Some people don't like taking the breakouts. It's up to you. But let's get into more examples real quick. Before I move on, I want to go back to our drawing board. So I took calls right here, right at my level, because like I said, I'm not about to say a lot of you guys, it all depends on your risk. A lot of people waited for, to confirm the breaker structure. And then normally a lot of people actually enter here, like pretty much most of the world normally enter here once we broke above this high and enter that way. You still would have caught a nice move. For me, I'm not going to say a lot to you. I trust my levels so much. There's a lot of times where I won't even wait for the breaker structure. I would just take the trade at that level and then, hope for a bounce. And if it doesn't bounce, then I just cut my losses. But like I said, it comes with experience. It comes with your risk tolerance. And that's up to you. But technically, this is actually wrong. You don't want to take calls until we have a breaker structure. But like I said, the more you do it, the more confident you become in your system, and you can, do whatever you want to do, right? I'm also a risk to reward trader. We're going to get into that in a minute, but also, entering right here in my stop loss right below that level. I mean, is, I don't know how else you want me to put it. I mean, like, your stop loss is literally right there. So it's up to you. But first, before I move on, let me get into this one more time because I think a lot of people are still confused. Let's go back to the whiteboard because I know the charts can be a little confusing. Let's go back into the whiteboard one more time. Can everybody see the whiteboard? All right, because I think too many people are like letting the charts confuse them. Because I know the live charts is hard, but if you understand the characteristics, the live charts would then become easy. So when it comes to entries, right? Let's say that we are in an uptrend, right? And we are looking to take calls, right? Because you want to catch the break of structure on the lower time frame. So let's say this is the daily, this is the 1 day, and then let's just say this is the 1 hour over here. So we're trying to catch this breakout, right? We're trying to catch this move right here. We are trying to wait for the break of structure down here to catch this move. Okay, we're trying to catch this move. So what you want to see is the lower time frame. People always ask me, Jay, where to enter? Guys, this move. So we're trying to catch this move. So let me delete this real quick. One more time. My bad. Okay, so let's go back. So now we're going to focus on this move right here. So we want to know what this move is. We have to know what this move is in order to catch this move. So this move right here is going to be what on the lower time frames? This is how you enter a trade, a downtrend, right? So on the daily, it is a pullback, but on the 1 hour, it is a downtrend. And how do we know that a downtrend is broken? Is if we break of structure, right? Does that make sense? So how you catch this move coming up is if we catch the break of structure on the lower time frame. So right here, we have our lower high. Once we break that lower high, you can either take the breakout or you can do the pullback and then trade the trend up. This trend up is going to trigger this move up, right? So once we have this 1 hour, this is the 1 hour time frame right here. This downward trend right here is the 1 hour. So this might be 1 or 2 candles on a daily, but on a 1 hour, it's going to be a couple of candles downtrending, right? So once we have that lower high, that break of structure right here, once we have that break of structure, and now the new trend is now starting, that is going to trigger this move, right? The lower time frames start the move first. The lower time frames move first. So go ahead, the 1 minute moves, and then whatever happens on the 1 minute happens on the 5 minute. And whatever happens on the 5 minute, it happens on the 15 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, then daily. So when people ask me for entries, that's all that I'm doing is if I see something that I like on a daily, a pullback on a daily, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the lower time frame to be in the opposite, they want to be in a downtrend. And once the downtrend is now broken, you can then take calls to the upside, which is going to trigger the daily move. Does that make sense? And then if you want to draw a trail line or whatever to get an even faster entry, you by all means can. This is where people get trail lines from, right? Draw a trail line. If it breaks the trail line, you can take calls then. It's however you want to do it, right? It's up to you on the type of trader you want to be. So I'm gonna do this one more time. So that way it'll, make sure that it's clicking. But this time I'm gonna make you guys do it. So let's just put it all together, right? Let's put it all together. All right, so let's go back to the main thing of class. So what is this, guys? What is this point? The orange points I'm gonna label. So this is a higher high. What is this point? Higher low. What is this point? Higher high. Higher low. Higher high. And higher low. Okay? Stay with me. So remember what I said in the beginning of class. Where are we going to take calls at? Where do we in an uptrend? You want to take calls at what? Higher lows, right? So if this is the daily time frame, the only way to catch these higher lows is we want to focus on the break of structure of this move here, right? So when we go zoom into the 1 hour, if we're trying to catch a daily high or low, the 1 hour is most likely going to be what on these pullbacks? A downtrend, right? So this, we're focusing on this move, this little shaded yellow move right here. Is this on the lower time frames? Okay, so now let's go back into our thing. Okay, so what is this? Lower high. Okay, hold on, y'all. Let me make this a little more spaced out so that way we ain't all cramped up. Yeah, so here, and it's gonna take practice. I also got another video that you can watch too, other than the live class, of another video I did. I think I probably explained it a little better. Okay, we about to put everything we just learned today. So what is this? Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Okay, so how do we know that the downtrend is now over? I'm gonna make this our resistance. We want to have a break of structure. So let's go here. Boom, we have a move up. What is this area right here? I'm gonna make it, let's make it green. What is this right here? Right here, this point? No, I'm talking about right here. That's our break of structure. Also, we're gonna have our order block. Okay, so now we have our order block just in case. So now how it work is we want to, if we see the breakout, you can also trade the breakouts, but also what about if, you know, when we start this uptrend on the 1 hour, where do we take calls at? If we're going to take calls, where are we taking calls at? Higher lows. It's the same exact thing, right? It's the same exact thing. We want to, it's literally, it don't matter what the time frame is. If you're not a breakout trader, just wait for the pullback. Boom, there we go. It's the same thing. So now that we're starting an uptrend on the 1 hour, what do you think is going to happen to the daily time frame? If we're starting an uptrend on the 1 hour, what do you think what's going to happen on the daily time frame? If the daily time frame is in a pullback into a higher low, and then we start an uptrend on the 1 hour time frame, we are going to do the same exact thing, right? That means the daily time frame is going to start uptrending. Now, where does our demand zone area stuff, like where does that come into play? So this is where that comes into play. And that's why I say you can use it on any time frame, right? So let's go back here. So we already know this is a break of structure, obviously. So, okay. So let's say that, you know, we've seen that the daily is now starting to uptrend and we're looking for an entry and we don't want to just jump into the entry. Okay. So we had this move here. And then now we broke a structure. What happened again, guys? We did what right here? What happened right here? We had a break of structure. So now what does this area becomes right here? Our order block, our demand zone. So let's go ahead and draw it. So now let's say that you missed the breakout. You're like, man, I'm waiting for another entry. I don't want to get caught. Okay, now when we come back into that area, look, boom, you take the calls right there. You're going to enter. And then there we go. You want us to continue up. And then there you go. The uptrend continues. Do that make sense? Cool. So that's all that it is. And like I said, you can use it on every time frame. I'm going to do some more live examples, but I'm just trying to get y'all. I feel like too many people are trying to like go fast at it, right? And it can go into your order box. So like it's the same thing. Let's say that's a great question for the person that just asked that. That's a great question. So somebody said, what if we have an uptrend or whatever? What if price decides to not bounce at the order block, it decides to bounce in the order block? All right, so let's go here. So let's say that price decides to come back and it bounces, like it goes in the order block. The same thing, because what is this move on the lower time frames? What is this move? It's a downtrend. So don't get too hip on, oh man, it's in the order block. I gotta take calls. No, it's the same thing though. It's still going to be a downtrend until your order block. So what you will see in your order block, right? When we get there, when we get into that order block, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be a downtrend, it's going to break, and it's going to start the uptrend. So you don't even enter until, like, that's what people, you have to get that in, like, this has to be a habit for you guys. You have to, if you're trying to take calls, you want to have a lower time frame downtrend. That's the only way that I trade. I have to have a lower time frame downtrend. It does not matter. If it doesn't have what I need, I'm not going to take the trade. And I think that's what a lot of you guys are getting into, is you guys are like saying like, okay, what if it doesn't do this? Then you don't take the trade. You have to be picky with your trades, right? You have to be picky. Just how you're picky with what you decide to eat, just how you picky with what girl you decide to date. Trading has to be the same way. Y'all won't settle for less. So why are you settling for less in your trading? You need to be stubborn in your trading. If it doesn't meet your criteria of taking the trade, then you don't take it. This has to stop with us retail traders. Is we be like, oh, I'm gonna just take with the market. No. If it doesn't meet your standards, don't take the trade. This is why I don't take that many trades, is because if the trade doesn't meet my standards, I don't want it, right? You have to trust that over time, the market is going to give you your trade, because most of the time, the market will do what you say that it would do. Think about it. This is why I asked y'all when we first started the mentorship, how many people have made a watch list, and by the end of the week, the watch list did exactly what you wanted it to do? How many of this happened? You said that the market was going to do something, and it did it, but you didn't do it, right? And that's why I try to tell people, the market 9 out of 10 times is going to do what you wanted it to do or you thought it would do, right? So you have to think of it that way. And if it doesn't do it, then it don't do it. Because when we make on our watch list, do our watch list hit every time? No, but it hits. We notice a lot of the times where it does hit. Not every trade, like we might chart out 4 trades, right? And maybe 3 of them hit and 1 don't. I mean, that's the part of the market. It's not going to always work. But for the most part, over time, you continue to follow a system. You continue to be strict about what type of trades you want to take. And over time, you will be rewarded for that, right? So when people ask me, sometimes it's going to come to the bottom of the order block. Sometimes it's going to come to the top of the order block. Sometimes it's just going to come to the middle. Sometimes it's just going to break it. But if you're trading the characteristics, if you're looking for a downtrend and then a lower break of structure, that it doesn't matter where it stops. You know what I mean? Like the order block is literally there just for you to be like, okay, we're at the order block. I'm thinking calls now, right? I'm thinking calls because we're in the order block. I'm thinking calls. We did not break a higher low either. So we're still in a uptrend. So I'm thinking calls. Don't mean that just because it's in the order block, take calls. Because how many of you guys, literally, the thing is, if you just take calls as soon as it gets to the order block, you're trading against the trend. Because right now, the trend that you're trying to trade, yeah, we're in a higher time frame trend, but the lower time frames are still in a downtrend. So it can continue to go, continue to go, continue to go, continue to go, right? Did that make sense? Is anybody confused right now? And I'm about to go into some more examples, but is anybody confused? Jay, where's the order block when it doesn't break structure? Okay, so somebody said, this is a great question, another good one. I'm liking these questions today. The last class did not ask me any good questions. So, okay, so when we come up here, somebody said, okay, Jay, where's the order block if we just do this and we don't make it at the high? Can anybody tell me where's the order block then? Well, hold on, I drew that wrong. Hold on, no, don't answer that yet. Don't answer that yet. Hold on, because they're talking about the bearish scenario. So let's just do the bearish scenario first. So we have a move up, pull back, and then we just do this and we kind of just stop right here. Where is my order block? There isn't one, right? It was a trick question. There isn't one, right? Not every trade is going to give you that order block, right? You want to know why you don't force an order block? Because guess what? If it does this, this is how I keep myself from getting caught in chop. Like there is going to be impossible to always avoid chop, but this is what happens, right? So if it doesn't create those highs, right? This is where structure saves your life. This is literally how structure saves us from trading in chop, right? If we decide to create equal highs, which is a double top, but we don't break the lows, right? If this is the high and we don't break the lows, what's going to happen is it can just do whatever. It could just, it's going, that's when the chops start, right? It just start doing that crazy, that crazy shit. And then we just get stuck, right? So you want to make sure that, you know, you're trading the structure with it. So if it's not making new highs and new lows, right, it's most likely going to start chop. So when everybody asks me that literally, I get this question asked all the time. Like my chat be asking me this all the time. Jay, how did you know it was going to chop? I mean, it's not trending no more. The market is, like I said, the market is even either moving in impulse. Let's look at it. Remember what I say? Y'all be forgetting the stuff that I be saying. It's either moving in impulse, correction, impulse. So right now, this was this move up. This was the impulsive move. Now this chop is the correction waiting for another impulse. It can be impulse, correction, impulse. It can be impulse, correction, impulse. It can be impulse, correction, impulse correction. Like it literally, you know what I'm saying? It literally doesn't matter, right? If the trend is not, hold on, guys. If the trend is not doing what you want it to do, stay out of it, right? Did that make sense? Yes. The order block is demand or supply. Well, I'm gonna go back. So basically lower time frames will have to go up and uptrend and retest on order blocks take cost. Yes. So now let me get into the questions that people have been asking me. So what are the best time frames to draw order blocks on and look for structure? So structure is on every single time frame. You want to have structure on every time frame. So let's say that the daily, so hold on, let me show y'all this real quick. Let's say that the daily is in an uptrend, right? Can you trade these pullbacks? Yes, right? Why? Why can you trade these pullbacks? I'm saying you could, no, I'm saying that. So, okay, let me make sure I make this make sense. If we're in an uptrend, can we trade puts on these daily pullbacks? Yes, we can trade puts on those pullbacks because we can trade puts on the lower time frames, right? Because this is a downtrend. So technically, because it's a downtrend, you can still take puts, even though it's in a daily uptrend. You just have to be careful, right? That's all that it is. You just have to be careful because the higher time frame is like the boss, right? The boss is the higher time frame. Okay, so you always want to make sure that you're taking majority of your trades with the higher time frame. But we are options traders. We can make money real quick off of small moves. So we can still take puts on the lower time frames until we have a break of structure, and then we can ride the higher time frame as well, right? So yes, you can still take puts. So structure is on every time frame, but the bet so yeah, structure is on every time frame. Now for order blocks, for me personally, and this is just me, and I've seen traders in my chat, they didn't use the 1 minute for it, they didn't use the 5 minute. You can use whatever time frame you want to draw order blocks on. But for me, I like drawing order blocks on the daily and the weekly chart, right? For me, those are the best order blocks, right? And what I like to do is I like to make trading opportunities off of those higher time frame order blocks, right? So for me, the daily is just way, first of all, the daily is easier to identify. That's number one, obviously. And the levels are they hit way better, right? So for me, I rather just wait for those daily time frame levels. But if you're a scalper, if you are a very short-term trader, if you're a trader that just can't sit there and wait, then you can by all means make order blocks on the lower time frames. And it's literally the same thing. Like it literally the same thing. Actually, recently I did do an order block on the lower time frame. We had swung CL oil, we had swung crude oil, we had a futures, and I actually used a 15-minute order, no, a 5-minute order block to make my trade. So like I said, what I'm teaching you, don't be that type of person that's like time frame. Oh man, the time frame is the most important. No, guys, as long you can do everything I just taught you can be implemented on any time frame. Just obviously the lower the time frame you go, the more fake outs occur and just the harder it is, right? But with experience and with chart time, you will get better at it. So by all means, trade it on whatever time frame you feel comfortable trading it on, right? Time frames, stop trying to like I had this problem when I was coming up. I used to think that it was a secret time frame and everything. Guys, it doesn't matter the time frame. Find whatever time frame you're comfortable with and trade this strategy on the time frame. What was the other question? Somebody asked me, hold on. And I'm gonna go look at some more, but hold on. I'm just trying to make sure I got the first question out the way. Jay, is the order block still valid? I'm gonna check meta in a minute. Can you go to Apple daily chart because there is a candle broke structure on both sides? When you take a trade, order block, how do you determine your first price target? Okay, so we're gonna get to that in a minute. So all right, let's go look at some live charts again real quick, and then I'm gonna finish answering some questions. Let's go back to those live charts. If you use an order block on the daily, would you use a 15-minute time frame for your entry? Sure, of course. I would use any time frame, depending on the type of day it is, depending on what type of trade I'm trying to take. It's been times where I will come all the way to the 1 minute. Like, it just depends. Like I told y'all, like, it don't matter about the time frame. Just the lower the time frame you go, a little more difficult it is, a little more fake outs. But yeah, if I like someone on a daily, I will come down to the 15-minute. It doesn't matter to me. But let's go look at some more time frames. Charts. Let's start with Apple. Let's see what Apple had. I don't know why I drew that. Great. Okay. So before y'all get all crazy and stuff, let me be okay. So let me say that I should have said this at first when we first started, but I'm about to say it now. All right, guys. So there's going to be some times where you might want to use 2 candles instead of 1. Now, this is going to come down to you. What I like to do is I like to look at potential opportunities when I include 2 candles in my order block. But for the most part, I use 1 candle, but sometimes 2 candles as well. I don't go over 2 candles. So, for example, what I mean by this is when we're looking at this point right here, right? We had a push up, pull back, and then we had a breaker structure. Can anybody confirm, was this? I don't like people drawing on my charts, but I'm gonna let this one slide. I'm gonna let this one slide. But okay. Hold on, let me take this off. I'm gonna let that one slide. But okay. So actually I can draw it right now. He actually gave me an idea anyway, so I'm gonna let that one slide. All right, so here we go. Like, yeah, I'm gonna let him cook. Okay. But all right, so we have the uptrend, pull back, and then there we go. So did we break structure right here? I made that hella high, but basically right here we broke structure. Okay. So it's the same thing here, right? So then this area becomes your what? OB. So what I mean by the 2 things, so sometimes it depends on the situation, but sometimes, when you draw 1, sometimes it won't touch, which is okay. That's fine. And sometimes it won't touch and you probably missed out on the trade, but sometimes it's okay. I drew that so wrong. Sometimes it's okay to draw 2 candles, right? You could draw 2 candles. In this case, I don't even think it touched even with 2 candles, but sometimes it's okay to draw 2 candles. Like I said, what I like to do is just in case something like that happens, because this will happen sometimes, I will, when I see us break structure, I will kind of just put like a little level right there. This is literally what I would do. So let's exit out of this. I promise this is literally what I do. So y'all see how, let me go back to this drawing tool. Y'all see how we pushed up, pulled back, and y'all see how we broke structure? What I would do sometimes, this is what I do sometimes. Sometimes I will go ahead and put like a little level right there, just in case, right? So I will do this right here. I will grab this little tool right here, the horizontal ray tool, and I will plot that little, one of the highest points of the candle. And then just in case we pull back to that level, and then I'll still plot the low. And I also will plot, obviously, what we normally plot, just in case, because sometimes price likes to come to the second candle high and go up. In this case, it didn't do either. So obviously it won't matter. But yeah, I mean, you could play around with that a little bit. But I keep trying to tell people, as long you're not even, the level shouldn't matter too much, because what are you looking for on the lower time frames? What are you looking for right here? On the lower time frames, what is this? A downtrend. So once the lower high breaks, you can then, take calls to the upside. So that's why I'm saying, get into a habit of looking for those downtrends, right? And then take it off of there. So, but let's just go back into drawing them right quick. So first of all, I want to start with, because I know y'all be getting confused off of this. So let's go back. Let's do this one more time. Let's do this. So I'm about to sit up here and I'm about to draw structure with you guys for at least a couple of minutes. So let's start over. Okay, so here we go. And I pull it from anywhere. So let's just say right here, move down, move up. So we have this move up, down, right here. Is this a break of structure right here? Yep. So we go up, break a structure, pull back, boom. Is this a break of structure right here? Yes. Pull back, pull up. Is this a break of structure right here? Down, pull back, pull up. Is this a break of structure right here? Come down, pull up. Is this a break of structure right here? Up here. Cool. So for my people that saying you're confused, I literally don't know how to explain it anymore. I literally don't know how to explain it anymore. Just get into, I don't know why when we get to live charts, people get confused on this. Guys, all it is push up, pull back. This is our high. We want to look for a break above that. There we go. Break of structure, pull up, pull back, pull up, break of structure, push up, pull back, pull up, break of structure, pull back, push up, break of structure, right? So now when we're looking at the charts, all we're doing is looking for this. Push up, pull back, that's the high, break of structure, push up, pull back, break a high, break a structure, pull up, pull back, that's the high, break a structure, pull back, pull up, break a high, break a structure. Now, how do we know this is still in the uptrend? Well, look, let's go here now. Let's go back to this tool, okay? Look. When we pull back, did it break below here? No. So it's still an uptrend. So boom. When we pull back here, did it break below here? No, it's still an uptrend. Pull back, did we break up here? No, it's still an uptrend. Pull back, break here. When we pull back this time, did we break here? No, still uptrend. So Apple is still in a what? Uptrend. Okay, same thing here. When we have that break of structure right here, when we break the high, this becomes our new order block. Pull back, break this high, new order block. Push up, pull back, break the high. There we go. Push up, pull back, break the high. There we go. And then if we come back to the zone, take calls. There we go. So now the next question will be, okay, looking at Apple right now, what are we doing? Are we taking calls or puts on Apple? Are we taking, from right here, are we taking calls or puts on Apple? Neither. Why neither? We're going to wait, because when we're looking at, let's go back to the structure, right? Let's go back. Literally, this is how you do it. Let's go back. We have a push down, push up. This is our break of structure. Push down, push up. This is our break of structure. Push down, push up. We don't know that we are still at a what? We are still at a higher high. Why wouldn't we count this as a higher low? Oh, please get this right. Somebody please get this right. Why wouldn't we count this pullback as a higher low? We won't count this as a higher low because what? There we go. We did not break structure yet. This is our higher high, right? We want to break this high for this low to be confirmed. We did not break structure yet. So if you were to take calls on Apple right now, you will be taking calls at a what? And you only want to take calls at a what? A higher low. There we go. There we go. Is it clicking for anybody yet? Is it clicking? Please tell me it's clicking now. It should be clicking. Now, if you're still confused, that's just because I know how you feel. I know how you feel. I've been there. Actually, no lie, when I was learning structure, I literally text my homeboy and I said, bro, F this trading stuff. This shit is confusing. I am done. So what I did was I said, if I'm ever going to teach somebody how to do this, I'm going to have to learn it to a point where I can explain it simpler than the person that taught me how to do it. So all is going to come down to screen time. So literally, people always ask me, how do you know which one is a higher low? We don't know. Too many people that's why I told you at the beginning of the Zoom, you are trying to guess the higher lows. Stop trying. That's really why people are confused, because they're trying to guess, Jay, is this a higher low? I don't know if it's a higher low. I don't know, because it needs to break what? It needs to do what to be a higher low? I don't know if this pullback is this. I don't know if this is a higher low. So how do I know that this is going to be a higher low? We want to have the breaker structure. Keep it simple. So now let's say that Apple decides to, pull back and then break this high. Guess what? Bearish candle. Boom. If we come back here, take calls. Y'all see that? If Apple decides to break above, let me make it in yellow. Let me make it in yellow one more time. If Apple decides, so when you're looking to see, okay, I want to make a trade on Apple. This is Apple's high, right? So we want to break. So if we have this push up. We stopped right here. If we pull back, we want to break this high, and then the new order block is right here. You will take the last bearish candle and the lowest point. So now your option is you can either take the breakout. If you're a breakout trader, you could literally take, I am okay with taking breakouts when the structure is there. I have nothing against breakouts. All I'm saying is if you miss the breakout, then the next opportunity is going to say, boom, we here. And then hold on, let's go back. What is this going to, this is the daily time frame. So what is this pullback going to be on the lower time frame? A downtrend. So look, we have the downtrend. The downtrend breaks the previous lower high. We start the uptrend, right? That's going to trigger this daily. And then do what? You're going to take calls, right? Do that make sense? Come on now. I mean, and it's that simple. This is already recorded, so it'll be up there. But like, this is why I say structure is king. Structure saves you so much money, right? Structure saves you from chop. It saves you from all of that, right? So let me go do some more examples to make sure that y'all got it. And I'm gonna be more like letting y'all answer the questions. So let's do, somebody said meta. No, meta ugly as shit. We just did meta. Got all them damn gaps. Meta got all them gaps, bro. Okay. So, and like I said, some charts are going to be better than others. Some are going to be ugly. Some are going to be nice looking. So let's start. You can start your trend from wherever. Just start over. You know, if it look ugly to you, find where the trend is at. So, I'm not gonna lie to you, Microsoft ugly, but we can still get it done. So we're looking for it. So let's see. Damn, Microsoft is ugly. Okay. If you trade Forex, you're gonna have way better luck than options traders. Just putting it out there. If you're a Forex trader, you're gonna have way better luck because options options is bad, y'all. Like options is extremely bad. The news be throwing it off and everything, but as long as you focus on structure, you will be all right. So okay, so we have a push up, pull back, break a structure. Okay. So ooh, this is so ugly. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Some is ugly, y'all. Some is ugly. Hold on. I gotta Microsoft really making me work for it real quick. Hold on. So let me see. Damn, Microsoft is ugly as shit. So the breaker structure happened here. Okay, so here we go. So this is actually a good example. So you're going to do the last bearish candle. So first of all, I actually glad that we went on Microsoft because this is a good learning point. So when it comes to when I remember what I'm saying, every time I'm telling you to draw your structure, right? I'm telling you that you want the move before the breakout. So what I mean by that is if we have a push up, a pullback, and then we have a push up, and then maybe like a little something like that. Even whenever you're drawing your breaker structure, you want what the previous price action before the push up, right? You don't. So in this case, you don't want to plot the initial pullback, right? You're going to plot whatever broke because the whole purpose of trading is to focus on what actually broke it. Like, so you want to retrace it back to what actually caused the break of structure. So in this case, we did have the pullback here, had a little push up, then pullback. So in this case, this will be your order block, right? Did that make sense a little bit? This is a good example of that. So you want to just focus on what broke structure, what broke the structure. Put this in your notes. Focus on what broke the structure. Focus on what actually broke the structure. If you get too many candles in between and then it break, you want to focus on the actual thing that before it broke, right? So in this case, it's going to be this, right? So as you can see, when we broke, it did all that little choppy stuff. Then it pulled back right into that order block, and then it bounced up. Did that make sense? A little more advanced, but as long as you focus on the characteristics, you will be all right, right? And for my traders, that's like, Jay, that's kind of confusing, then don't trade it right now, right? Do not trade it right now because you're not ready for it. It's okay. You will be all right. So that's a good example of that. It's simple. Right? I try to tell, bro, if you in my chat, what do I tell y'all all the time? Keep trading what? Keep trading what? I tell y'all all the time, keep trading simple. It's not hard. They just they make the chart seem hard to confuse you, but it's really not, right? It's really not as hard as people make it seem. But all right, let's go into this, right? Let's go into this. So we don't even have to do all of this because we really don't care about this. People always ask me, how far do I go back? I don't need to go all the way down here to care about it. We're just gonna focus on what's the most recent structure, right? So this is the most recent structure. That's all I care about. I don't care about down here no more. We done with that. So far, Microsoft pushed up, pull back. This is our high. We broke structure right here, pull back, broke structure right here. So now let's go draw it out, okay? So we're going to take so this is our high. This is our high. Sometimes it's gonna wick above, like I said, do however you want to do it. But overall, let's just keep it simple. We're gonna take our last bearish candle before the break, the real break. And what do? We pull right back up into that area. What is these two candle pullbacks going to be? A downtrend. Hold on, let me actually go into the charts, because maybe people don't really believe what we saying. Let's go zoom in. Let's go find out what this looked like on the lower time frame. Let's go to the 1 hour. But you look at that, a downtrend on the lower time frame. But actually, hold on. Let's go even lower. Let's go even lower. An ugly downtrend, but it really was chopped for real. But overall, still, starting our downtrend or whatever, came up here, downtrend, broke, came back. It was a little harder to trade, but overall, you just want to focus on it. Like, it was a downtrend whenever structure present. As I said, the lower the time frames be, it'll be a little harder. I wish that looked a lot better for you guys, but I wish it looked a little better for you guys. But the market actually been in this range, so it's a little harder. But that's why I say sticking with the higher time frames is going to be like your go-to. But also, you also got like your chart patterns here. What chart pattern is this? Right here. Right here. Anybody? Nope. Double bottom, right? So that's what I try to tell people. So like, let me just go back into this. Let's see. Hold on. I didn't actually take Microsoft. So let's see. Let's go back. Because not every time. So, okay. So here we go. So if we know that this is our order block, right? And this is also a good learning point. If this is also our order block on the pullback, I meant to say this. So I'm actually upset for the people that left class already. I forgot to say this. So not every time, I mean, most of the time you're still gonna have a downtrend, but also you're gonna be looking for for my people that's in my chat, what are we gonna look for when we're looking to take calls? It might not always be a downtrend. What might it be? What are we looking for? If we want to take calls, what are we looking for in the lower time frames? I know you're not saying like breakers to the high low, but I'm saying just keep it simple. What are y'all love to say it? We are looking for bullish what? Bullish what? Confirmation, context, right? Failure to go lower. So give me some ideas of some bullish confirmation once we get into this order block. We have bullish engulfings. We have what? We have maybe a hammer candle. We have maybe a pin bar. We might have a double bottom, morning star. Literally all that I'm looking for once we get into this order block, I'm looking for, somebody said power. I'm looking for a bullish confirmation. So sometimes, somebody said power for real. So sometimes it might not necessarily be a perfect downtrend, but also to substitute that, you want to look for bullish context. So you're gonna have a double bottom, you might have a morning star, you might have a pin bar, you might have anything that signals bullish engulfing. That's more confirmation to take your trade. So if it might not be a clear downtrend, because you have to also understand, what did I tell you guys? The market moves in what? Impulse, correction, impulse. So what did I tell you guys? What is the correction phase for? What is this supposed to do? Why do they make correction phases? What is it supposed to do to retail traders? Take retail out, shake them out, make them feel unconfident about their trading strategy. Take your money, do everything to get you out of that trade. So the pullbacks, the correction phase is normally our pullbacks. It's not going to be perfect. Sometimes it's going to be ugly as shit, right? Because a lot of people are looking for these picture perfect setups. Sometimes it's just not going to be there. Sometimes it's not, it's a correction. Yes, we want a downtrend, but at the same time, it's a correction phase. And depending on how the market makers want to do it, they gonna make it hard, right? So they might have this, some crazy stuff. It might be this, right? Then push up. It might not be perfect. So understand, correction phases aren't meant to be picture perfect. They're meant to confuse you, right? If you want to see a prime example of this, just look at today. Let's just go look at today. Look at today. This was some bull. Hold on. Let me see. Now that I'm looking at today, it didn't look that. Today was hard to trade. I don't care what nobody say. Today was hard to trade. This was a lot going on. Let me go to the 5-minute, look a little better. So today, yes, the structure was there, but I don't know what it was. It was just maybe I was just off today, but today it was kind of hard for me to trade. It was hard for me to trade today. I'm not to sit here and lie to y'all. It was hard. It was hard. It was hard for me to trade. But now that I go back and look at it, couldn't have been. It wasn't. I don't know. I don't know why. Now I'm kind of mad at myself now. Yesterday was definitely some bullshit. So this, I mean, there was no. This was trash. This was trash. Today was like scalpers. Today I don't know what it was. I just couldn't get. I couldn't get right today. I'm actually looking at this. It actually gave some decent opportunities. I just think I was on the wrong. I don't know what I was doing today. It just, so technically we did have like the the low, the break of structure. Let me see. Came down the break. I don't know how I got messed up today. I don't know. Now that I look back at it, I'm like, today actually wasn't a bad day. I don't know how I got messed up today. It just wasn't my day. So I'm gonna have to recap that tonight and go over it. I will say, um, I do think CPI. I'm not trying to blame it. I'm not trying to blame it on CPI, but I do think that definitely had an effect on like the way I was trading today. Like I said, every trade that I took today actually went 100%, but I just got on it was like I just kept getting on the wrong. I could get on the wrong side, and I actually had no bias today. I just was on the wrong side. Like what was my first trade? I'm trying to remember what it was. I took calls this morning. Let me see. Where did I take calls at? I took calls on the video, and the video went up like 5%, and then it ended up. I started seeing structure breaking, and then I think that's where it was. I think I had. Let me see. Damn, I can't remember. I think I took NVIDIA calls. Well, matter of fact, let me go look at NVIDIA. Okay, there we go. Yeah, there it is. NVIDIA looked different from SPY today. That's what it was. So yeah, so what happened, what got me was where did I take calls at though? I can't remember. Oh, there it is. Yep, there it is. I see it now. I see it. So here we go. This is literally how I got messed up today. So we had this pullback. We had this pretty much I was betting on the breaker structure or whatever. And we pretty much let me see, hold on. I can't remember exactly. I have to go back. Examples of where you take profits. I actually did not take profits. I actually lost on this trade. I'm trying to remember. I want to say I took the breakout and then we were up like 5%. And then we just pulled back and we broke structure. Yep, that's what happened. So around this time I did calls or whatever or something like that. What time was it? Yeah, so it was this area. It definitely was this area. So I took calls around this area right here, and then we ended up pulling back somewhere around there or something like that. And then it just when it broke structure, I cutted it or something like that. Let me go look for myself. I don't even know. Let me go check. Because I'm trying to guess and stuff. Let me just go back to the chat and see where I signaled the video at. So the first signal came at, let's see. Yesterday. Oh, this is another day. Damn, we've been trading the video all week. So yeah, so my first signal came at 8:45 my time. So let's go look. Where did I signal the video at? Oh, this is a 5-minute. I definitely was on a 1-minute. So I signaled the video at 8:45. Okay, here it is. So I did try to take a why did I take that? That was a shit trade. 8:45. I think I was counting this as the break of structure. I think I probably was looking at XPX too. But I ended up taking a video. Did I count that? I should never counted that. That's probably what messed me up today. At 8:45. Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. So I don't know why now that I'm looking back at this, maybe because the market was moving so fast. I signaled the video here. So obviously I was definitely taking a breakout on the video, and we pretty much was pushing up, and then we pulled back, and I ended up I don't know what I was thinking. Where did I cut the video at? Hold on. I had to be looking at XPX with it. I cut in the video at, I think I cut it right after. Okay, yeah, so that's what I did. All right, so I signaled the video on the breakout. As you can see, we caught this little 5% move up, and then it ended up pulling back down, right back below. So I ended up selling this trade here. I should have just held it. The video ended up pushing back up. Yeah, I definitely had the video ended up pushing back up. And then I pretty much was like, damn, why did I get out of that trade? Right. So then I ended up signaling that was meta after that. I'm trying to think where I got back in the video. I got back in the video puts at 10-11. 10-11, 10-11, 10-11. My entries were just off today. 10-11. So pretty much that's how I got shaken out that trade. I took the breakout and it ended up just pulling back on me. And I don't think I was ready to take a loss or whatever. So then I ended up cutting and it just ran back up. Definitely missed out on the bag there. And then at 10-11, I signaled NVIDIA puts. 10-11 right here. Oh yeah, my entries was just off today. So at 10-11, about right here, I signaled NVIDIA puts. I don't remember exactly why I signaled NVIDIA puts right here. Oh, today was just a bad day for me. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Today was just a bad day. Because I literally don't even know. Maybe I was on a 5-minute or something. Damn, I should have recorded this before we got on class. My bad, y'all. I'm just trying to see what the hell was I looking at? Ten, 11. So it was about this candle here. We had this breaker structure, pullback. Okay, that makes sense now. All right, so once I seen this pullback, I think I was trying to take the video shorts to go ahead and break these lows, but we ended up pushing back above. No, my bad, y'all. My bad. No, this is actually no. I took NVIDIA puts off the higher time frame. That's what it was. That's why I'm getting confused because I took the calls on a lower time frame, but I took the puts on the higher time frame. There it is. That's what I was doing. All right, and this wasn't really a good trade. I think this is definitely revenge trading. I'm about to say a lot of y'all. This is definitely revenge trading. But NVIDIA had basically, we had a pullback and we made a new high, and this was our new order block. And when the market was pulling back at the time, I was thinking that, right now, NVIDIA was going to end up coming back down and touch that order block, which is how I got my target of 279 right here. So in a way, I basically was, I did exactly what I told y'all not to do, which is not trying to guess the pullback, right? Wait for the pullback to come to you. Even though this trade did go 100%, it's still, to me, this is still a loss, right? Because I did not follow my own rules. And that's the worst thing to happen for a trader, is to not follow their rules and still win, because then they think that that's okay. So I literally did exactly what I told you guys not to do. And I was pretty much guessing a pullback. And my idea, my whole mindset of this trade was, my stop loss was if we break this high, and then I'm just going to try to see if it ride down there. And that's why we got these wicks and stuff. So yeah, that was that trade. I remember this trade now because it was it was kind of like towards the end of the day. And it was kind of like a revenge trade. I definitely revenge traded because, like I said, I took Meta, NVIDIA earlier, and XPX, and I lost on all three of those trades. But those trades ended up going 100%. So after that, I was like, okay, well, this time I'm gonna just take a trade and just hold it, because all my other trades went 100%, and I'm gonna just take this one, and this should go 100%, which it did go 100%, but it still was a bad 100%, right? So I literally was like, okay, the market was pulling back at the time. XPX had just started pulling back. I think at the time XPX actually failed to make new highs or something like that. It was a dumb trade. Like, it was just all around just dumb. I might have also been looking at tape too, and I might have seen some sellers on the tape. And I'm gonna teach you how to read tape too, but I can't necessarily remember. But yeah. But yeah, so that was my dumb trades today. I had a lot of dumb trades. Today just wasn't my day, and I lost money because of it. But moving forward, I learned from my lessons and I journal it. We all are human. We all make mistakes. Even I make mistakes. So, you just kind of learn from them and go from there. So the question is, where does NVIDIA stand right now? So NVIDIA is currently in a situation like Apple, where we pretty much made a new high, and we're pretty much trying to see, like, obviously, if you didn't buy down here, then, right now there's no trade for NVIDIA. So, like, for example, when we go look at it, we have that push up. Hold on. We have this real quick. We have this push up, pull back, push up. And now, right now, we are deciding if this is a pullback or is this a continuation higher. So if we want to continue higher, we want to break above this high and continue up. But the trade for NVIDIA, like, as far as like this type of setup, the trade for NVIDIA came down here. This downward trend, when it was broken, that's where the trade for NVIDIA came. So if you're looking at NVIDIA now, I mean, right now it's a little too late to trade NVIDIA from a daily perspective, because right now we are at a spot where we don't know no more. Like, we don't know if it's going to continue higher or if it's going to pull back. We don't know that yet. Does that make sense? So too many people, like, they see a chart, they're like, man, I want to get in. Like, no, the move was here. This was the move from here to here. Now the move is setting up to do something else differently. So yeah, I'm actually mad at myself for recapping my trade. I normally recap my trades, but today is the only day that I didn't. I was gonna get to it after class, but now that I'm looking back at my trades, today could have definitely been avoided if I just had I think really I'm not gonna lie. I really believe that CPI kind of threw me off a little bit, because when the market first opened, it was kind of wild a little bit. So I was just like, okay, I'm trying to gauge it. And that happens a lot. I've noticed that in my trading, once we have those data releases, I'm a little rusty, like right after, and then I kind of pick it up like the next day or a couple hours after the data release. But that's why me and news have like a love and hate relationship, is because whenever news, I don't know what it is, whenever news is released, my strategy just goes to shit. Like, my mindset just goes to shit for a couple of hours. I don't know what it is. It's every time. This happens literally every time news come out. This happens every time news come out. I don't know what it is. every time news come out, my trading goes down a little bit. Like FOMC is a prime example of that. Normally FOMC is on like a Wednesday, and then like that Wednesday or like that Thursday, because FOMC is normally like closer to the ends of the day. So normally Thursdays are pretty bad days for me after FOMC, and then I literally make up for it on Friday. Like that happens all the time. Like after FOMC on Thursday, I have a trash day, and then on Friday I have like a crazy day. So that's something I got to work on. Maybe after news is released, probably just don't even trade the next day or a couple hours. Maybe that can help me. I don't know if any of y'all go through the same thing. Have anybody ever experienced the same thing? Like when news, like you be seeming like everything be good, and then as soon as some news come out, like it feel like it just mess up everything that you were just doing for the whole week. So that's I just like every day. No, I'm only with news. Like I literally like I'll be doing just fine until some damn news come out, and then the whole market just be like, oh man. But any more questions before I let y'all go? This is a pretty long class, and I don't want the video to be too long. Actually, I can stop it now. That way it can get uploaded faster.